So my name's Vincent Lutman. I present a show on Resonance FM called Nostalgia Unblocker, which I've done for about 10 years. The show focuses on music of the two Congos. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, so I was born in London, grew up in London, was a working musician, went through various musics, really kicked in with the whole punk thing in the late 70s to the early 80s. And by the early 90s I had found African music to be really interesting, not just kind of African ones, because Africa's a big place for a lot of different sounds, but specifically Congolese. I really liked the guitar style very much, and I played in a band for 7 years and we worked all around the UK, playing at festivals, playing all sorts of events, and I learned a lot about the kind of feelings of the people, all the guys that I worked with. When I say guys, that's both male and female, just a kind of generic term. But I learned, although people were actually asylum seekers and few refugees at that time, I learned a lot about the community and about how they lived in London as both refugees and asylum seekers, problems that they faced, etc. When that finished, and we ended up having to finish the band purely because of changes that Conservative government brought in, which meant that those guys would have been deported, they'd been gainfully working somewhere, so we had to stop. And so when it stopped, I was already collecting and listening to a lot of Congolese music at that time, and a former band member of myself decided it'd be quite nice to present a show showcasing some of the older music in the two Congos. The show itself on Resonance is called Nostalgia Unblocker, which means nostalgia of home. Now that's not my home, obviously, this is my copycat. But we thought it'd be quite nice to kind of play music which people would be able to enjoy, songs that they hadn't heard for a very long time. So, and also to give people who didn't necessarily know, because quite often when people hear African music they say, oh, will it sound happy? And actually it's not necessarily happy. Actually it might be someone crying their heart out because their girlfriend just dumped them, or because whatever. So there's so many different aspects of it, and we thought it would just be nice to kind of address the cultural aspects of it as well, explain it away, provide information on some of the artists, people who perhaps you've never heard of, but you say, wow, that's a great song. Even for younger Congolese, perhaps children who've grown up here, who've kind of grown up within, what can we say, the African diaspora, kind of listening to lots and lots of different sounds, but only kind of knowing a little bit about their own culture that was passed down to them. It's also about covering the history. The way the music works is so totally different to the way that our own music works. It's like, if I talk about there's always been kind of protest songs within pop music as long as pop music existed, pretty much from the early 50s with Elvis kicking in and all this. I'm saying Western pop music, right? Whereas African musicians have never ever known that freedom. But the musician's role has always been, within every society, a musician's always to criticise. His role is always to be a social commentator. Whether it's bringing the news, whether it's spreading the news, whether it's overtly or covertly criticising what the state's doing and how the people on the ground feel about what the state's doing. But when you haven't got that freedom, so you think about another way to say it. And that's when I was telling you just now about love song. Well, if you're looking at, someone's been betrayed by their lover, well, that betrayal could just as much be about a politician or a leader betraying their people. And that's the way that these musicians So the listener is the judge, the listener is the jury, but the musician always has to have a role to fall back on. If I make sense with you, sorry, I'm probably sounding a bit full on. Let's have a look.
Cool.
Okay, so when you're talking about the music of Africa or the music of Congo, in order for me to kind of give you a brief overview of the music of Congo, you need to know a little bit more about the whole music of Africa. And obviously we're talking about a big place, continent, right? And it's necessary to think about the transportation via the slave trade. So if you listen, for example, to a lot of you, I'm sure, listen to the blues and know a bit about blues and know a bit about jazz and stuff. Well, all that stuff originated in North America. And a lot of the instruments that were originally used in the early days of the blues can be traced back. Their roots can actually be traced back to the west coast of Africa. So that's places like Mali, Senegal, etc. And when the slaves were taken from West Africa, so they were taken and dumped in, put in the plantations in North America, and the slave owners in North America actually took them. And wherever these guys came from, whatever the peoples, actually just took them and stuck them all in huts, mixed them all up. And remember, slavery happened for a couple of 100 years, right? And all these guys are all coming in there, all being just stuck together, and it's very difficult to retain cultures in those conditions. Now, when you look at the people of Congo, the people of what was Congo, this is Congo with a K I'm talking about, which is now the two Congos with a C and part of Angola. When you look at those people, a lot of those people, because of the slave routes, right, we're talking about transmigration across the Atlantic, a lot of the slave routes, as I said, from West Africa, they ended up in the southern states of the US. Further down from Congo, Angola, they ended up in Cuba was a huge stop-off point for the slave trade. And from Cuba, obviously, they were then transplanted into the various little islands of the Caribbean, across into Latin America itself. And of course, you also had lots of slaves going down into Brazil. Now, the samba, for example, the word samba, the very famous Brazilian samba, that can actually be, the word samba actually is a Kikongo word. This is this ancient kingdom word called semba, and that comes from Angola. So that's the kind of southern part of this ancient Congo kingdom. Anyway, I'm waffling, but what I'm effectively wanting to say is that when the slavers took these slaves from Congo and transported them, dumped them in Cuba, when they were put in huts in Cuba and in other parts of the Caribbean, instead of mixing them all up, some places they did mix them up, so it made it difficult for people for what can I say, traditions to remain. But certainly in Cuba, they actually separated them and put them in huts according to where they came from. The important thing about that was it allowed languages, it allowed cultures, and possibly more important than anything, it allowed rhythms. So that's like the drum rhythms and stuff to remain, okay? And it's not to say they didn't evolve, but it enabled the things to remain over generation and over generation. Anyway, so let's jump forward 100 or so years, and by the kind of late 1930s, really, you had an urban Africa developing, okay? And within this urban Africa, you had, well, that was still colonial Africa. You had an underclass, or you had a first tier, if you like, of Africans with a disposable income. And so the guys that were running the kind of economy, the colonialists were thinking, okay, well, we've got a few wealthy blacks here, how can we get them? I know what we'll do. What we'll do is we'll start importing Latin music. because at that time in America and in Europe there was a huge boom in Latin music, led by people like Josephine Baker, the black dancer who was based in Paris, led by all the big Latin bands and the whole Carmen Miranda thing that was kicking off in Hollywood cinema and all this. So you had this big Latin movement across, kind of in a way worldwide, and it was really easy to think, oh, the Africans are going to like some of this stuff. So they started leasing titles of Cuban and other orchestras, pressing them up into 78s and then shipping them to Africa for sale. Now this had a huge influence across the whole continent, but when the Congolese especially heard Cuban music, they said, this is our rhythms are happening here, guys, this is our music, you know. And the kind of early songs almost sounded a little, well, they weren't copies of Cuban, because the Congolese always attempted to well, they always retained it, not an attempt, but they always retained their own music. They always infused their own music into the Cuban music. But like I'm trying to say, what made Cuban music particularly strong was that the Congolese heard themselves in it already. They heard their ancestors within this music, you know. And so from the really late 1940s, that's when a recording industry began in Congo. Now, one of the things, just going back to the radio program, one of the things about Congolese music that it wasn't something that appealed to me, but certainly it kind of explains the infectiousness of it, is that more perhaps than the Nigerian juju, than the Ghanaian high life, than the Malian kind of more Islamic influenced styles, the thing that it was the kind of the whole Latin feel of early Congolese recordings that immediately it became Pan-African. So not only were the studios in Congo releasing work for the Congo, but you then had them shipping the discs out. And this continued right from the mid-1950s, pretty much. Today, a lot of the recording industry is actually based in Europe. That's not the same kind of musicians as people like Amadou and Mariam, who are making music predominantly for non-African audiences. But you've still got labels perhaps based in Africa that will send their artists to Europe to record simply to use better facilities. It all depends, because Africa, you've got so many problems in some parts, and some parts are quite stable. So you might have good studios here but not good studios in a country where there's a coup d'etat every 5 minutes, or people are rioting, or people cut, you know, 5, 6, 1,000% inflation per annum, etc, etc. I'm probably telling you far more than you need to hear, but I think that's enough to give you a bit of background on the birth of Congolese music and African music per se. There you go.